Hello everyone, Rotary Swing instructor Craig Morrow here. And today, before I go out to my next practice session, I want to show you something that I saw in a few swings as I was making an assessment of my day one progress. Now, this wasn't in every single swing, but it's something I'm going to put a lot of hyper focus on today because I want to get this out ASAP, because this could lead to future injury. And it may be something that you're struggling with at home or pain you may be experiencing at home. And I want you to know that this is something you need to grind out as soon as possible. You'll see I'm on the left-hand side of the screen. I've got Chuck on the right-hand side of the screen. And as I start to work from address into my takeaway and I start to shift back into my lead side, one thing I want you to pay close attention to is my lead hip. As I work from here into impact, you'll notice if I draw a line from my ankle joint up to my shoulder, that my lead hip and my lead knee are starting to get outside of neutral joint alignment. Now, this is a very dangerous position because when I start to push a little bit too much and I take that lead hip and start pushing it against the socket wall, this is where players start to experience labrum tears. Now, I'm already coming off of a lead hip fracture, and the last thing I need to do is take off another 6 months because I tear a labrum in my lead hip. So if you're experiencing some pain on the outer part of your lead hip right here, you may be doing the same thing. What you want is for that lead hip to be the primary balancing joint. And when you pivot off of the hip correctly, not only does it improve quality of strike, but you'll be able to swing pain-free and prevent any type of future injuries. So today when I go out and practice, I'm going to put a lot of awareness into making sure that I have a nice clean post and I'm using my lead hip socket as the primary balancing joint so that I don't stress my hip out any further. You'll notice Chuck over here on the right side of the screen, as I start to work him from the 9 o'clock position into impact, he's in a much safer position than I am. You'll see that the ankle, the knee, the hip, the shoulder are all stacked right here. This is going to allow him to not put too much pressure on that socket wall. This is a very safe position. And you can really see it if we start to move through the impact position, just a few frames. You'll still see how he's nice and cleanly stacked. He's allowing that left hip to work back and away. And if we take my swing and we go to the same position, notice how I have just a little bit more of that kind of reverse C look. You can really see it at this view or at this point in time that I'm pushing just a little bit beyond that neutral joint alignment. So today when I practice, I'm going to really make sure that I'm pivoting correctly in my hip socket to shy away from future injury. Now, the funny thing is, I think this is going to be an interesting case study for me. Am I pushing beyond because clearing my hip right now, not only is it tight, but it still hurts? Could my brain be trying to add this push, add this little bit of slide because it doesn't want to feel pain? Or is it because of lack of usage? Is it from sitting down at a desk and not really using these muscles? Are my legs just being lazy? Is my hip just being lazy? I don't know. I'm going to find out today. But it's something that I'm going to put a lot of attention on because I want to get it out of my swing ASAP, because it'll help me not only keep quality of strike going in the right direction, but it'll prevent future injury. I don't want to put any more stress on this hip socket than I need to. If you're struggling with this same thing at home, a few videos I'd like you to take a look at on the site. I want you to take a look at you hit the golf ball with your legs. I want you to take a look at preventing hip pain. These are going to talk about when you make this motion that you're putting yourself in an injury-prone position and how to properly post up on that lead hip so that you're in a nice, safe, neutral joint alignment position. It didn't happen on every swing, but it popped up enough that I want to get it out. I want to be as injury preventative as I can during my kind of swing rebuild process. And so I'm going to be shooting for getting in a nice straight neutral joint alignment position right here, as you can see with Chuck on the right hand side of the screen. So if you've been experiencing a little bit of pain here, make sure that you're not pushing your lead hip beyond neutral joint alignment, getting that hip socket, getting that hip joint pressing against that hip socket wall, because it will lead to a labrum tear, and then you're going to have to take a lot of months off of golf to wait for that to heal.